Okay, welcome everybody.
Thank you, sir.
The old Webster Business Commission will bring this meeting to order. First on the agenda is the minutes from last month. Would entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Any comments? Questions?
I'm sorry, I was writing. I didn't.
First,
Motion.
second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. All right. We have no real visitors today. Yes.
Sure, but I don't think, I thought it was only us as the only participant.
Looks that way.
Yeah,
It says
just one
one.
participant, so yeah, no,
Renee's caught in traffic. She'll be joining us if you. I did invite a visitor today, but looks like he got caught in traffic as well. So we'll see if he shows. Circle back to that if needed. All right, moving on to old business, rooftop lighting update. I'm gonna hold on that until Renee gets in. We'll move on to decorative park sign updates. Frank and Randy.
No, don't have any updates.
Okay, I have kind of final update. So originally I was tasked with comparing like what you were doing with new signs, what the cost difference would be. I got 5 different quotes. I got quotes for just getting the graphics applied on the old signs, brand new signs, multiple different ways. And in the end, comparing your original quotes to the best quote that we received, it's literally like,
you're looking for business district? Yep,
Yes.
have a seat, Larry, where you go?
so basically.
Time out. I'm sorry. Time out. You need to find out who this gentleman is.
Yes.
Hi, I'm just some stranger wandering off the street. No, I'm Elliot Leibson. I'm the new director of planning and development.
Elliot, welcome.
Sorry, I
Thanks
thought
for
it
joining us this morning.
had a note that it started 8:15.
Except on budget month.
Oh.
Welcome to budget.
Welcome.
Exciting
Elliot,
time.
I'm sorry, can you spell your last name for me?
LIEBSON.
Welcome.
Elliot, if I understand correctly, this is your second day
Yes,
on the job. Well,
but this is my second go around with Webster. I was here from 2000 to 2004.
very good.
Welcome
Where were you then?
The same one.
Same one. Huh?
So I had meetings with this very same group this one time.
Well, and I'm just gonna chime in here. The other exciting thing is that Elliot has very extensive work in economic development as well as the planning side. So
Your name sounded familiar.
I didn't do it. Listen
In
to-
a positive way.
All right, thank you.
All right,
All
sorry.
right, back to parking signs.
All right, so back to parking signs. I have these. I'm just gonna pass them out. You can look at them later if you want to for any decision-making purposes. But you have your different companies, different quotes, and then, like I was saying, ideally, I think that the best idea would be to go with what Frank was saying, as far as getting getting them cleaned off, and then also if the same company can reapply the stuff, it'll be faster, more efficient. And cost wise, it's basically the same thing. There's $100 difference there. And that's it. So if you see at the very bottom left, it shows like the totals for Frank's quote and then the one using the best quotes. Again, I didn't know the exact number of signs, so I just did 20 signs. They're all double-sided. And there's a lot of different factors as far as like the artwork. Do we know who's going to do the artwork, or do we have Laura going to do the artwork? All right.
We volunteered to do the artwork.
Okay. All right. Very good. But yeah, so
Baxter, let her know.
it needs to be a Vector Illustrator. I'm sure she'll know exactly what needs to be done there. One question that came up: will we want to, after we take the vinyl off the old signs, are we going to have them repainted black, or are we just going to put the vinyl right directly on? Because that's a question that I've been asked when I was looking for the quotes.
I don't know if they were painted before.
Okay, it's just like the
I think it's
steel
just the
color.
steel-
Of,
it's the
okay.
steel color.
Why-
Why
would you paint it black? Why would you paint it black? Wouldn't you? Why would you? Oh, just because they saw just the pictures. They thought maybe they were painted like aluminum or something like that as opposed to just a black steel. But I think they'd be fine the way they are. And I guess I have a question for Renee. She's not here, so hello, Renee. Well, you just sidled in.
Not only am I here, I'm right next to
I need to give you some Tic Tac so I can hear you coming. So my question was, have we found out as far as the sign machines that the Public Works has, what all those machines do? Like, do they cut vinyl letters? Do they print, sticker type? No, I don't actually.
Yeah,
That
we
was
have
just a
vinyl
question.
letters.
It does-
I mean, we make signs.
Okay.
But I don't know that. We make signs, but it's the basic street signs.
Okay. All right. So I, because that segued into the other wayfinding signage we talked about,
Mhm,
like getting stickers. And I didn't know if they did, print vinyl stickers like that, so.
mhm.
Tim may have some insight if there's probably machines that do simple basic cutting and like Renee was saying, that the city does.
I'm sure they had probably something similar to what we have. We have a 6'4" vinyl cutter. I mean, it's what they use to wrap cars and everything else. So, and I'm sure what you have is similar to that.
Okay.
So can it do more intricate stuff like this as well? No, it just does basic, but then it could do, anytime you put in a vector format artwork, it could just do it.
Yeah, it either cuts the vinyl or prints the vinyl, I guess.
Yeah, it does both.
Okay, then that's, okay, all right. Okay, so that's where we are with the signs as far as that goes. Okay.
So we're looking to purchase 20 new signs.
We still have to count the signs. We
Okay,
have not counted the signs.
Okay.
And I was determining whether or not it was gonna be cheaper to go the original route, which was to clean off the existing signs and reapply the graphics
mhm,
versus getting all new signs. And then in the end, there's down in the bottom left part, this is Frank's original quotes.
mhm.
And then this is, getting them cleaned off and having them reapplied. And they're basically the same
It's the
price.
same.
They are less expensive than actually getting all new signs.
Good.
That's what I determined on that.
So again, we're guesstimating. So Frank's original quote was based on 20 signs. Yes or no?
My quote was on a per sign. We did. not
Yeah, I did
have a number.
$177.
$177.
So I didn't know how many signs, so I just used 20 signs. for
Okay,
everything.
I'm
So that's just
okay,
kind of like a
okay.
base comparison number.
Okay.
So I will, this kind of goes with our budget, which is a little bit hectic right here, but I can go and I can get a count of them here in the next couple days, exactly how many there are, and so we'll know a little bit better.
Mhm.
But I think our budget has to be kind of today.
Yeah,
Right.
we're gonna take the budget today. Now, we can ask for special budget items
Right.
from the city council. Which we'll get into here in just a couple minutes.
Right.
But thank you for that.
Is there,
Okay, yeah.
does the city have a GIS map that shows all of the,
No,
the parking signs? It doesn't.
we are working on that.
Okay. I know there's one for the trash cans, but I'm not sure if there was one for the.
Well, there might be a map, but we don't have a GIS system yet. We had a GIS.
Okay.
It was not kept up, so that's something we're working on.
Any other comments on the signage? Okay, thank you, Randy. I'm gonna move back up a little bit. We do have another visitor I wanted to introduce real quick. This is TJ Redmond. TJ Redmond, his family has some commercial properties on Lockwood. And he's, well, as TJ is a Webster resident himself. Would you like to share anything else, TJ?
We've also got a business, although it's, we don't do a lot of advertising out of it, but, it's a home staging and, sign studio, based on 690, North Core there, the old print building. So we've been there for about a year and, been doing business and living in Webster a long time and Dave mentioned something, and was happy to come and check it out. So thank you guys for having me.
So a potential member for the committee.
Best behavior, guys. Best
Yeah.
behavior.
Yes.
All good.
I think a chance, right?
Thank you. And Renee, I'm gonna We'll move into rooftop lighting as well.
Yeah,
If you'd like to say a few words on that.
I would. So currently, Show Me Electric has been working down an Old Orchard. The plan is for them to finish that, move over to Old Webster. Dave, if you're okay, I would like to connect you with Dan. Um, sooner versus later. What they have been doing is they have come through at night. They've been inventorying the lights that are, off. They also need access to the buildings. I think you know the spiel that I'm about to say, to check the GFI. So these guys have been they've been very proactive, versus the other people that I was trying to work with. And one of the things that I'm gonna need from them, an inventory. So they've got to figure out, I need to figure out how many light bulbs I need to buy versus how many string lights I need to buy. So that's where we are. It's ongoing. The needle is moving, and the goal is for you all, as well as Old Orchard, I need to get that order in so that we don't stop the momentum. I want to keep going and just move up the street and get it done. So that's where we are. So if anybody sees some activity down there, that's what you're seeing.
Very good.
Yeah.
You say Dan from Show Me Electric? Or
Yes, Dan from Show Me Electric. But Dan Warner reached out to me and he offered to be one of the contacts. So mission, if you're, I'm fine with it, but I need the head valves.
Yeah,
I need you all to be fine with
We
it.
should absolutely lean on Dan.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he reached out, which was great, and he's been reaching out and giving me updates on things that's happening. And I'm appreciative of it because our eyes don't see everything. So just want y'all to know we do appreciate Dan's input.
Very good.
You're welcome.
Any other comments for Renee? Moving on, before we get to the budget, we'll hit the district pedestrian sign. Any updates there?
We'll talk about the plotter.
I don't really have any updates other than my question, but what can the vinyl machines do? Because as far as I looked up prices to get, like, if we needed QR codes, we talked about putting stickers on there. And it's just relative, it's inexpensive. You can get 100 of the same for $60, but if we have our own printer, you could literally print one of those and then that's all you would need to do. So very inexpensive as far as that part of it. And if we have the plotter and we can actually use it and do things cut vinyl, you'd probably save a lot of money as well to cut it ourselves, if somebody is able to apply. But so that's like an option as far as, having other people come in and do it.
So I have a question with respect to the city. If our guys are able to do that, we'll just have to, you have to charge you that way.
Right.
Whatever. But my question is, I need to talk to them. I can't commit them to the actual cleaning off part. I'm not saying that they can't or haven't. I don't know that they've done that before.
Right.
What would be the steps taken if we cut the vinyl, right? Who would still be responsible for getting it
We
cleaned
may
off?
want to just go with a vinyl installer, somebody that's gonna cut the sticker and then put it in. I don't think
Just
that
put it
is
in.
a
Okay.
city for that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we just have it done.
Okay.
Like, somebody
One-stop
print it
shop.
and install it, and then if there's a problem with it,
Okay.
they'll come up. If we start
Okay,
peeling off,
okay.
we're not gonna call the city and say your sticker,
Right.
your stickers rule.
Okay.
We'll call the sign shop and they'll come back out and fix it. I
Okay.
think that's probably the most direct course.
Okay.
One person to blame.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Unless
And
the city feels comfortable with it. If you have somebody there that feels comfortable doing it. That might be cheaper, but if they feel comfortable,
Yeah.
as they've done in the past, because they do make signs, so they might have somebody, you guys might have somebody there that's.
Yeah, one thing we don't know is
We don't.
how to clean the sign, like
What's the
you use
sign prep
acetone,
we
you
use?
use
Best
alcohol, what do you?
but still,
I don't know.
Right.
Because
Right.
I've never cleaned the sign,
No.
so I don't know the steps,
No.
but
Right.
I'm happy to
Yes,
ask
We can
and
ask
check with the.
find out who to talk, who we need to talk to or coordinate with from the city.
Well, I'm gonna run it down the pipe. I'll have a conversation with Sanan and our sign shop person. And just to see, and the other question is the balancing out for work. So I have no idea, we're coming out of winter. And so I don't know what repairs and such that we have to do. But I think the first thing is, how many signs are we talking about? Because once it starts, you're.
Under a
you-
dozen.
And there's two different signs going on. There's the
Okay.
circle 2 hour parking
Yep.
signs, and then these are
Blade
the,
signs that are about 4 inches tall by 8 inches across.
So these are the wayfinding signs?
Yes.
wayfinding sign, yes.
Okay, so say 12 wayfinding signs.
Obviously.
That's in my head, a lot easier than 177 of the other signs. So, yeah, okay, so 12 wayfinding signs. Is it okay if I get back to you then?
Sure. Goes in eventually, right?
That's a goal for before the end of the year. I'm serious, man. I would like to clean up a lot of this stuff, the
Be good.
low-hanging fruit.
That would be good. Any other comments on the Wayfinder systems? Okay, moving on. Gregory Donovan is here again today to help us with our budget. He was also kind enough to prepare, and this was sent out. You should have it in front of you. The budget worksheet report, which shows data going back to 2021. So we'll spend a little time on this today. The challenge that we had last year this time seems to still be an issue, and that's one of business licenses. So if you look at the second page of the budget worksheet report, right towards the top, we have been in the 20 to 40,000 a year range. Last year, numbers were coming in light at low 22,000. We're under the impression that was an anomaly, so we're planning on 40,000 of license fees for this year. So far we've got 12,000.
This truly started in 23.
Yes,
I mean, it's dramatic.
and I don't have the history going back farther than that, but
History.
earlier than 2021.
And this 12,000, this is what's been collected, was collected last year for last year? Or
I believe it's so far for this.
so far for this year.
Is that a fair statement, Gregory?
No.
Business licenses, 12,000.
The 12,000 number is that for this year?
Hold on, I have
Sure.
there we go.
Oh, no, you've got it now.
You've got them.
So. Yes, that is for the fiscal year. So as you're all aware, last year, the business license renewals go out until June. Any business licenses that were received until September. So in July or August were accrued back to the previous fiscal years. They really belong to fiscal year 2024. Anything received after September or September 1st to today has been applied to this year, and that's so far.
So far you've received 12.
So far, and I sent out business license renewals only.
They're due by April.
In April
30.
30th. I only
Right,
sent
the
them
30th.
out on January, the first or second week of January. And here's what I sent them out to. I sent them out to everyone who was paid up through last year and who was paid up through 2023. I haven't gone further back than that because of the work that's going to take me to get through the database and identify those people. So there are delinquencies and that is going to be addressed. So I think that's where I am at the moment. So we've provided opportunities for people to pay online for their 2025 renewal. Some people have paid. I would imagine that some people are waiting. I know or that there are a number of folks who pay a significant amount of business license in fees in Old Webster who have not paid yet, and only at the end of February, so not exactly expecting them to have.
Yeah, I don't pay until April.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I do, I'm not-
I got an email, for the 2025, which was fantastic, and I just put the stuff in. They sent it, I paid it, I'm paid for 2025. They also said I not paid for 2024, which I thought was a possibility, just because of how that all went last year. I couldn't remember what was done. But I had not paid for 2023 either, and I did not know that. So they sent me the numbers for those, so now I just need to pay those. So it was a really easy process via email where I just sent my numbers in, they sent me what to pay and a link to go pay it. So it's really nice to have it online.
I'm glad to hear that, and if I may provide just a little bit more background. That process, while housed in the finance department, was managed by the customer service folks at the front desk.
Right.
They managed that process. We lost our two folks for completely different reasons who were at the front desk for a long period of time, left the organization. And we went through a period there of multiple people trying to fit it. You can imagine it's not the highest paid, position, all that sort of stuff. So getting back on track to where that stuff is being managed and the knowledge base is being recreated and that sort of thing. Also, frankly, our database is not the best and requires more maintenance than probably a database should. But that's where it is. And I'm working through that right now, and I'm a one-man band at the moment. So I'm trying to do that and get through that.
Well, I think we're gonna recoup a lot of what we lost from 2024 and 2023 because in the email back to me, it said, I can't issue your 25 license until you've paid 23 and 24. And I'm like, what, 23? So if that's the case, if I were to go through the same thing that I did, it was just enlightening. And now I know I pay those. And then I don't get my 25 license until those are paid. I think we're gonna get a lot of that money back.
I think so too. And there's gonna be more attention and rigor around it, this year for sure.
And it was nice and easy. It was easy and enlightening. So,
Thank you. I'm glad it's becoming easier.
yes.
Gregory, for planning purposes and looking ahead, would it be reasonable that we plan on 40,000 for business licenses?
I mean, I
Or
think
should we
that-
temper that back.
I think it's reasonable. I mean, once we get ourselves caught up on that, I think that's a very reasonable expectation to repeat going forward.
And with the recouping of other years, I think that's the cushion right there that would get us there comfortably. I mean, I'm feeling comfortable
Mhm.
about that. I would just think.
And frankly, I don't know, the mayor's here, I'm probably telling too many secrets, but she'll let me know later. There are some people who are many years out of compliance for probably because we missed sending them a renewal. I'm gonna give them that benefit of the doubt. But who I know are in business, happily doing business, so those things are going to be addressed. This year is going. Everybody needs to be up to date.
Okay, very good. So Gregory, the 2026 development entry requests.
Yes.
And you indicated that some of these were filled in, but they're not. Is that a fair statement? Can we run with what we've got?
So for 2026, yes, I mean really any requests, I would say outside what we call the 600 lines, which are all personnel costs, anything that an account number 700 and higher, that is your request line. So if you want to, and it's really dependent upon what you think your needs are for the next year, and your particular request for spending type of projects. Those need to, you just have to provide them to Ms. Tyler so that they can get entered into the system and we can brought before council here in the budget. Peter decided that it doesn't properly, doesn't want to function.
So the overall revenue number that you can work with, reasonably work with, is 78,860, is that?
Yeah, it's reasonable, and real estate taxes are gonna go up. It's not the real estate taxes for the business districts are they don't come in with the rest of the real estate taxes, primarily because I find that a lot of folks protest those. And so we don't get protest payments until late in the year. So this budget is going to be prepared and done probably before the county sends us any.
And that's why we're $10,000 less than.
Right, it's a huge lag for the business districts in terms of when we actually get the funds. So I wouldn't expect seeing those. We didn't see them last year until May. So we're already through the process, essentially, in terms of determining that. However, with inflation where it was, I'm expecting real estate taxes to, this is the reassessment year. Constitutionally, it's capped at 5%. It cannot, what they're going to determine, the state of Missouri stated the CPI was 2.9% last year. So it's going to be between 2.9 and a 5% increase. That's what we are constitutionally limited to. So, because of the handcuffs.
Not to put more on your plate than you already have, but I would suggest going back, if you're starting to look for people who haven't paid in quite a while.
Yep.
I would say 19 would be your year. I mean, before the pandemic, 2020 threw everybody off. Everybody was, businesses were shut, and no doubt we had lower in 2020. But then people just, they maybe started skipping out on 2020, 2021, and then they just kind of, it fell off their radar or paying attention or didn't pay it. So there's
a whole variety of things. And I'm not sounding like I'm casting aspersions on anyone. That's certainly not my intention. It's one of those are hopefully just the facts of the matter. And it's,
right.
Exactly. So it could be a whole variety of reasons.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like we at least have a revenue number we can utilize.
I think it's a solid. What's in there for last year, with a bit of an increase in the real estate taxes, I think is a positive. It's a good revenue.
Thank you. So then moving on to the expenses, and Renee, Gregory, you point to us. There's every year, I feel like there's essentially committed expenses for city provided services. Is that?
So I would suggest you go down to page. So where you will start is on page 4, and materials and supplies, which is account 711. From that point forward, those are the items that we would look at.
Like we have the flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Discretions, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So after the city committed expenses, put it another way, do we have a dollar figure on what city expenses are going to be?
So these expenses that you're looking at, these are salary expenses. So even from preparing the budget for the department heads do not touch this.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, no. So our concern must
say,
be
like, there on page 4, the just below, we're right above account 711.
Mhm.
We have total personnel services of $31,032 for 2025.
So far to do. So it's an inexact science, at the moment, we're trying to make it more of an exact science. Brian Thomas is the primary Parks and Rec person who works within the business district. However, there are three other people who sometimes come into Renee's telling me I'm not telling lies.
You're not. You're right.
There are three other people who come into the business districts to help. We are trying to track those folks more closely in terms of hours. In the past, what happened was in Parks and Rec provided an estimate, essentially sent a bill to the business district, which was an internal memo here at City Hall. And we pushed money from the business district back to the general fund to reimburse the general fund for those expenses. We're trying to be a little more, set expectations for all of you and be more precise. Right now for Brian Thomas, because he's more or less 100% in the business district, it's what I've been told is that you pick up 50% of that salary for Brian. And
As the districts, not as this district.
no, this district, Old Orchard picks up 40% and Kent Crossroads picks
Okay.
up 10. That's how it's divided up between the three districts. That was a preliminary number from provided by Mr. Peterson when he put this budget together last year for the business district. And we need to do some more work on that in terms of trying to be more precise. So I would say that the personnel services is gonna be in that ballpark, although they're gonna continue to be utilized, especially during the springtime when they have flowers to plant and everything. So, yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So jumping ahead, this is where the memorandum of understanding scope of work document that was passed out a month or so ago comes into play. To be honest, this does not cover everything that the city contributes. And where Brian is listed, there are also public works personnel, which is broken down, as Gregory mentioned, not only just the streetscape that we tend to, but there are other, even just things that we do from day to day, from the lights to changing out things for Christmas and the banners. So this is a number that honestly, it's low. If you look at the scope of work, it's low. And I really would suggest we not fixate on this. This from 697 and 698, because when you look at the scope of work, it shows how much the city is actually contributing. That we're absorbing.
That. What I'd like to get to is what's our discretionary? What do we have that's discretionary, like for the potted plants?
We have potted plants, we have advertising, and we have special events like
kind of
street dance and jazz. That's what we have. And parking, we have parking. We could get rid of our, so we could get rid of employee parking and save a couple
I
grand.
mean, the only thing I see, like in the discretionary, the 2616 we're paying for recycling. I believe Fran said all the districts are paying for that. Is there a grant we can look for recycling for the city, for the districts? Is there a way we can get some outside green money? I know like the Green Dining Alliance is getting, like your certification with them. Like, I just wonder, is there another way we can get that off of our budget onto some other money?
So I would strongly suggest that for right now, we're not certain if there are going to be sustainability agreements.
Okay.
But what I would like to point out is that recycling is offset by the sustainability. There's a line item that offsets this. So while it's in your budget, it's it's in your budget, but it's still it's funded by a line item from the general fund that is earmarked for sustainability measures. So your plants and such all come under operational.
The flowers are under commodities.
Commodities, thank you. Thank you.
724.
Yeah,
That's, and the majority of that spend is in the springtime, that's why.
Yeah.
It's only showing, I think, 7%, so, that. Flowers are expensive, didn't know if anybody knew that or not, but. They're not cheap. So,
something else that is on here, and we were talking about it via email last night. I've asked Frank Herring to take an inventory of the trash receptacles in each of the business districts, because that is the city's responsibility. And it hasn't been inventoried this year, so, but those are line items that should be on here. Receptacles run about $1,100 a piece. That's what I was told. We'd like to find it cheaper, but that is something that sits in this
We
business.
just got all new ones.
So y'all got
3
all
years
new ones
ago.
already?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that and the blue recycling ones.
right. Or blue recycling ones were
We're fully
grant.
stacked.
Okay.
Blue recycling ones were sustainability.
Okay,
We're not supposed to be an expense to us. We just pay for the big blue dumpster that has all the cardboard. Right. Gets emptied twice a week.
That's the 2616.
yeah, the disposal services, that's trash and recycling. And you also pay for part of the parking lot leases, right? In the transaction line there, and they all went up this past year because they were all renegotiated, so
It's mind-boggling me a little bit that, our revenue in 2019 was $93,000. And now it's $78,000. Virtually no vacancies in Webster.
Well, it's the banks, it's the banks, and the checks came from the banks.
That wasn't this. That was in 2020, 2021, we had some bank money come in, I believe. But it wasn't in 2019 or 2018 when our revenue was 93,000 as well.
You sure?
Darn sure. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's been random.
It has been random, but it was, when did Eric start here? You know that year?
21?
That's when we all of a sudden got some kind of a big windfall. And maybe we did have more professional businesses, more dentists, doctors, and stuff. Didn't get the bus that time.
I'm just waiting for it.
I didn't want to keep you invited to golf. But anyways, so that could be it. That could be maybe where our revenue is gone. But all of our expenses continue to go up dramatically almost every year, and our revenue is flat or falling. I don't. It has to be some major change.
that would require some analysis, in our database that have to work through. What's there.
It sounds like it's just a giant wormhole.
Yeah, it is kind of a bit, so it's not my favorite system in the world, so. But working through it,
Let's discuss then the things we actually can decide on. Have a recommendation, if you will, but on account 724, we talked about flowers and beautification, all that good stuff. I know in prior years there's been some interest from our committee and flowers and pots versus the hanging baskets. I think there's a cost impact there, but I don't know how much we have to say.
Well, I think what the deal was is that the pots are more expensive. And the reason we've gone away from those pots, well, some got hit by a car, some just deteriorated over time and they're more expensive to maintain supposedly. I'm not.
At this point, is that, and I don't know that people here that can answer this, but at this point, is that a decision or recommendations outside of our hands?
It's not a recommendation outside of your hands. The thing that I would want to make certain about, I'm not so sure with all Webster, if all the sidewalks can accommodate ADA needs with flower pots sitting there, meaning if you got a wheelchair, you've got to have the ability to use the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And in some instances,
It was
the
all mapped,
sidewalk is.
so it's, everything stays ADA
Yeah.
when they add the flowers,
Yeah.
pots to sidewalks.
Yeah.
We have
Very
really
wide sidewalks. And I'm like, oh.
It was just last year we put the pots, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Don't forget though, the hanging baskets are water conserving baskets. That's why they're less to maintain. They take less. That individual you talked about spends less time. Therefore, it's more cost effective. That was the biggest push.
And
I
we
mean, I
have-
love the pods, but I mean, if it was cheaper
If
and
I'm not
that's
mistaken,
what we
we
decided to do, I mean.
we had recommended pots, but we got pots and
Pots and hanging
And
baskets,
hanging-
right?
We did some pods, yes, yeah.
yeah, there were still pots.
I mean, we as a feel strongly one with the other, or just both here. Respond to do their thing.
Well, yeah, I think we're a little bit high. I mean,
I mean, we don't have a ton of flexibility.
right, exactly, right. I mean, you can take, I mean, I think if we went to pots, it's gonna cost us more money, which we don't have more money. So I think that we have to kind of say,
Let them do their thing.
And I think last year looked good. I mean, I was worried about it, but I don't think there was a problem with how it turned out. I mean, there's a pot here and there and the baskets, I think it looked good.
Is that how we're doing it, is maintaining the pots we do have basically till they deteriorate and then not replacing them? Is that the?
it's
No, it's been
really parks.
Right, that's a parts question.
Right, and I think
So
that they,
the
I'm not
water-
trying to say they don't, I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. You know, hey, some of these pots are not usable anymore, they're cracked that you don't see, that leak water out as soon as you put it in there. Let's go to hanging baskets here. I like the pots myself, much better. They're a lot bigger pop, a lot bigger splash. It's money, you know, and there's like Dave was saying, there's only so much you can really cut. I mean, it's really parking lots, pots, advertising, special events. So
Parking lots, we have contracts.
I will tell you that the Parks and Rec is very partial to the hanging baskets. So I do know that for a fact, and that would be an uphill climb for you if you really wanted to.
Seeing as we're not flush with excess resources, let them do what they do. We do have some budgeted dollars for the streetlights and it's for installs and whatnot. Last several years, we've been doing the installs, but now on board, it makes sense to leave that in.
I would suggest, I would suggest requesting an increase. I was circling 1,500, and then there's another, and Gregory, this is a new question, maybe. Because the light's gonna cost you more than 1,500.
So those the streetlights are the building lights.
The building lights.
Is that what we're thinking that lights
Yeah.
or?
But
I only ask because sometimes we name weird things.
I'm sorry, I'm having that problem too. Are you talking about the lamppost lighting or are you talking about the rooftop lighting?
I'm talking about the rooftop lighting.
Okay.
that's not streetlights.
Right.
So we call it streetlights, so, okay, so
Well,
that's,
Streetlights is for electricity.
I'm on the wrong line item.
But you know, that has been interchangeable, calling it the street lights, the streetscape, but that's fine. My question is, so for the 1,500, if we're talking, this says request for electricity for lights, which is a little confusing for me. I'm looking on here to understand where there have been instances in the parking areas where we have to replace the light fixture. There have been some instances in the parking garage, but that's ours, so that doesn't have to
Yeah,
be
that's
junk.
not.
But the lots that are leased, if there's a lamp that goes out, we have to fix it. Those fixtures cost more than $1,500. So I don't know where that would go.
That's electric, this should be electricity to run the street lights.
Yeah, it's like, this is
Like the decorative
my
street
understanding
lights.
over the years, is streetlights was, this line item was just for electricity. For the lights.
So last
Um,
year,
it used to be-
we took it out of the.
So,
I mean, I'm sorry, the rooftop lighting, we took out of the
Okay,
budget last year
okay.
because we were so tight. And let me just check last year's numbers, because we may not have put it on.
So that's something we need to do.
Mhm.
the streetlights used to be, oh no, this is for the replacement of the LEDs we paid for those. Here we go.
If that is for electricity and as in we're paying billing your utility, then that's in the wrong line item. We have an electricity account, but that's just what it should be being billed to. I didn't,
851 was the street light, the string lights, was 851 was the.
Yeah, 823 is the electricity for the streetlights.
we got it.
851, which we don't have.
We'll
Okay.
make sure that it
Yeah, we
gets to
took it
the
out.
right spot, so.
So. if
We
we're to bring-
consolidated our, well, we asked Ameren for consolidated bill, which is in and of itself a hot mess, but we'll make sure that. So those are actually getting to the right, there's again, more precision, so you can understanding for you all of what actually is.
So,
And for me too, say. Electricity for streetlight should not be in the streetlight account, that account is for the replacement of streetlights. So that's not, yeah, that's not an electricity account.
the 851 account rooftop lighting, said I think we pulled it out last year. With some more attention being given to it, I'd like to add it back in. I don't know.
That's a request
how much
that I
capacity, like a
recommend.
city
you add.
request, yeah. If we were to do a special request, Renee, what kind of figure do you think would be reasonable? $5,000? 10,
10,
okay,
10 and 15.
15?
So either we be strategic, we do half and half. Half one fiscal year, and because I'm gonna have to get the Gregory and make some magic happen for fiscal year right now. Okay, so say we get $7,000 work done now, we will, but we're flowing into July 1st, which is the beginning. Make our request. We'll have another 10 sitting there so we can finish up the work. Because it's expensive. It is expensive.
So something that I do wonder is that we had budgeted for the facade lighting program for multiple years apparently, and it was never done because no one would come out and do it. So I don't know where that money.
I didn't hear what you called it, sorry.
The
That would be
facade
the-
lighting program was
Facade lighting,
851.
the
Yeah, so
rooftop
this
lighting.
rooftop lighting,
That would just
it
be
was
excess dollars in the
budgeted,
fund balance.
right? So I guess that's in a balance.
So you do have, and I can't access the database via our Wi-Fi. You have a cash balance. You also have a CD of $53,000. That you use if you want, it is yours to use, so. It earns you interest, it's locked in, doesn't come due until. Yeah, it come due in April. Anyway, it doesn't really matter when it comes due, reduce it when the time comes, but, if you have a special project that you want to spend that money on it, that's fine. So, yeah, you can use it for whatever you like, potential, so. And if it's something you wanna you don't wanna wait till next June or next, to next summer to get it done, you wanna get it done, get it done. I mean, obviously within whatever Renee's project timeline. So, and whatever she's got.
So would it make sense then, because we're working on it, and I feel like they should be done down the road before the end of this fiscal year, and then moving up here and starting whatever work we do in the fiscal year FY25. Then our plan will be to continue to finish up Old Webster. So would it also make sense for the commission to request the fund? They'll, maybe don't have to ask as much as I just said, but
Sure, I mean,
to
yeah,
finish up
Oh,
the
absolutely.
project.
absolutely. So I would put it in the budget. I mean, and if, you know, we can go to the council and say, yes, we know that there's a deficit here, but we have reserves that we are going to spend on this particular project. So I think it'd be awesome for you all to get it done. I don't want to commit them. I was about to commit this Tyler to getting it done by October. but-
No, you're in my head. I want it done. I want it done.
Let's get behind you.
So that'd be great to have done by the holiday season. Probably been sitting
That
too
is the
long.
goal. Before the holidays.
So we'll try to get 15,000.
So,
in on that.
all right, so for 851.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also have to do the cool cities thing this
Okay.
morning, so I'm gonna go outside, and anyone who wants to can, if there's anything anyone needs me for, I'm in the building, but
Are you have enough time to give a city update?
sure.
If you would, we'll give you a few minutes.
And I apologize for doing this in the middle. Couple of different things. I know Renee will have some things for you as well. Those of you who have been following KBC Children's Hospital, next week, the site plan will be considered by the Plan Commission, which gets us one more step. The expectation, I think, is that that will be up and running probably this time in 2026, if not later in the spring. We will have, especially for those of you who are also residents, we will have a presentation from Sanan, our Director of Public Works, at our next meeting about the stormwater plan that we've been waiting on for about a year. I am very afraid because the price tag's going to be really high. So that's going to turn us to thinking about how we fund that over the next, it's a 20-year plan, so it's going to take a while to get done, but it is crucial for our community as flooding areas continue to expand in Webster grows. And then the other thing that we'll be doing in City Council this upcoming month, is Sam Dobson, who's a graduate student at UMSL, did our first inventory and study of infill housing over the last 20 years. And or is it 30?
Well, she
25?
went back to 2003. That's as far
Okay.
back as our computer-based records will allow.
So, and this is one of, for communities like ours, this is one of the ongoing discussions is infill housing and the benefits and also the costs involved with it. So we'll get a presentation to really understand what we've experienced as a community. So that's another upcoming thing. Any questions for me about other things? No? Okay. All right. And again, I apologize for skedaddling here too. See.
Great.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
give you an extra pen for the next time.
Back to budget. So I'm gonna move up the chain a little bit to account 830, our advertising and support activities. Currently, looks like we have $24,100 budgeted. Last year we spent just short of 20,000, and in 2023, 26,000. So it was like a recent. Comments?
I know that there was talk of a sponsor for street dance,
Mhm.
but Tim had mentioned, like, let's leave that 4 in. We can always reallocate that later.
I think it's a
think
great idea.
24 is a good number.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, if we had signed contracts and all that, it'd be one thing, but we don't. And that would be a disaster if all of a sudden they don't have money. So I would much rather just have it there. And then, I mean, for us, it's the backup, assuming that it does come through.
Yeah.
Because that just goes, if we don't use it, then it just goes into our fund balance, which then helps fund our lighting.
Christmas lights.
Part of that is.
It's like the circle of life.
Exactly. So I do have a question though with respect to the advertising. Just a reminder, costs do go up. Do you want to put maybe a 5% inflation increase on this to cover it?
I don't think we need to. I think a lot of the print ads that we run, there's a lot of deals if you buy early.
Okay.
And here they're
Yeah,
deals if you
yeah,
buy
no,
early.
there definitely, no, there definitely are, and we haven't raised our prices, so I
Okay,
know
good.
we're not raising our prices for this year at least. So,
Okay.
so that shouldn't change.
Right, but I know like Sauce Magazine where we run a lot of ads, I think during the holidays, like their bargain basement advertising right now, big full page for $750. So.
Good. Okay.
There might be something, just kind of that we want to get in touch with here about in terms of taking advantage of it now rather than waiting towards October.
Plan it out.
Exactly. If we can get more bang for a buck now, then let's do it.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you. I just learned something because I was concerned because everything seems to be,
It's going up. Right?
so thank you. We will take that under advisement for the city as well.
Now-
Thank you.
I'll actually expand on that though, as far as potential cost increases. You know, the last couple of years, there's been concerns or requests for additional support for the holiday open house, Oktoberfest. Anybody close to that? And where if that's a real need?
I do not know.
I do not know, and I don't know what their budget looks like. For an open house, I know like. There should be a little bit extra since there was no horses and buggies last year. So
They
there should
spent
be.
that money anyway.
Oh, okay. So there's no money left.
Well, they had additional street performers to try to make up for the lack of horses.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy on stilts? He was amazing.
He could put up lights.
Right.
Okay, so we'll leave the advertising budget as it stands,
So
$24,000.
no change.
So so the horses got in an accident on
No.
the way to the event?
They didn't,
No,
that's
they got
just what I
better.
said.
Huh?
No,
They have
they're,
better offer.
they're hooked up with, Grant's Farm. And so if Grant's Farm calls on them, they drop everything and go to Grant's Farm. Because they've got a contract.
But we still found out the morning of, and then we were able to get performers to come in at the very last second like that?
Mhm.
My gosh.
So,
We're just sitting in the bullpen,
Yeah, I
just making the bigs guys come in.
we'll drive it
1
through
hour,
town.
Rick, 1 hour, like
There's a whole service that you could contact and they have people that they reach out to. I think it's called Circus or something like that. They are obviously not gonna use that company with the horses next year. They already have seeked out someone else.
And Paint Webster still happens, is that correct?
We got
Yes.
$500 in it.
That
Yeah,
is
it's
correct.
pretty minimal thing, but I'm just.
So if you don't mind, because I had a request from someone, and I guess it was Webster. Is this the event where they walk around and they paint?
Yeah, they just like park out in front of my shop and then they paint the church. And then they go to the, what's the club on, what's the place on?
Monday Club.
Yeah, the Monday Club. Yeah, they go to the Monday Club and show them, and then they are judged, and then they.
Okay.
And they're
It's
all
a
over
group of
town.
artists, though, right?
It's a
Yes.
group of artists.
Okay,
Yes, yeah.
okay.
I mean, it's very minimal because, and I think that I would guess that Old Orchard pitches in a little bit too. I don't know
Yes, they
that.
do.
Okay, and so I would think Crossroads probably wouldn't, but probably both of us pitch in just this minimal amount for just this minimal advertising. None of the painters are paid.
Right.
They're all
Okay.
amateur artists for the most part. There are some guys. who are
That is
pretty
correct.
good.
Thank you, because I wasn't, well, I wouldn't be. I wasn't familiar with the request, and so I was trying to do some research, so thank you.
I'm not familiar with it.
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
I just am because I know one of the artists.
When,
very well.
It's been doing
What
it
time of year
for
is it?
May.
It's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming in
It's in spring.
Yeah, and they'll be out in front of.
Webster
Arena
Arts,
and-
Webster Arts
Yeah.
organizes it.
Yeah.
Charts.
Yeah, there's. a
It's
bunch
been
of
going on
artists.
for many, many years.
Yeah, for.
No, I
Renee's
don't, I
me.
don't doubt it. I just, the lady reached out to me and I didn't say no, I just said, oh, is this a special activities permit request? And she said, no, I don't think so. I'm just, asking for a sponsorship. I was like, okay,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is, and it's legit, and it's,
Okay. all right, thank you. That's most helpful.
Wait for my. Any other questions before I really?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, very good.
So,
All right.
excellent. All have a
Appreciate
great
it.
day.
And I think we're actually fairly close to the end of our budget discussion.
Okay.
We don't have a whole lot of money to work with, so.
The only other question is that always the parking lots, like,
parking lot rentals.
I'm gonna say uncle to that.
yeah. I don't know if the city could help out more than 50% on that or not, or
I believe we as a district were covering more of that before last year.
Okay.
And so we asked for additional cost sharing, which they
Is
did.
it still 50/50?
It's 50/50 now. Is that?
Well,
what it
it
was
could have
before?
been, actually, the lot on Gore was always 50/50, but the other lot could have been 70/30, maybe us, and then maybe now it's 50/50.
I always ask.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because the city came in and paid to redo the entire lot.
Yeah, the movie lot.
Right.
There's also signs that say whatever buildings right there that says it's reserved for their parking only, so I'm not sure how they.
Yeah, I don't know
To
how
do
those
that.
signs or if those are legit, no different than the signs in front of PNC Bank. Used to say PNC banking parking, and they weren't, they were city parking. But they had signs up there, I guess nobody was just. Took a hacksaw to them. But yeah, that's a city spot in front of PNC, it's not their parking.
Do we need to contemplate or make any special funding requests from the city for any other activities? In years past, we had benches, we had trash barrels.
I haven't walked around with trash can or anything recently. We did that maybe a couple years ago, got them all replaced.
What was the streetscape that was supposed to happen as a grant in front of Straub's, and that bench was removed, and I don't know if that got put on hold.
Oh, yeah, they
But
did
the
get that
bench was
grant.
never put back in. It's probably sitting somewhere. Public Works, maybe. Other than that,
I don't
think
know if that's
benches are
the bench,
decent.
actually, that bench was moved over to right over or up by the bank. I repaired that bench. We ordered Dan Warner, or we ordered the slats to see if it was repairable. And we got the new slats in, I put them all in, and then Dan, the city, reinstalled it over there next to the Regions Bank. So it's sitting out there, so it did get moved.
Okay.
But why I put it there. I think it was part of the streetscape,
Yeah,
the
they
reason
were
why
gonna
it wasn't
do
put
that.
back there, because there wasn't a whole lot of room.
Trees out and move the trees to the middle so people could open their car doors and get out of it.
Right.
It's a little-
So
Well, they crossed the
Little
bridge from
things.
me, just saying.
outside of rooftop lighting, no special.
What about, the 2-hour parking signs, the decorative signs and that?
Ooh,
How's that
that's a,
budgeted?
great point. Forgot about that. They put all that work into it. I feel like we should have a special city request there as well. And Randy, you got a cost estimate for 20 signs.
I think there's 20 signs on Lockwood. I think there's 25 on Lockwood. Because it goes from Dewey's to Rock Hill Road. So we'll need a.
Ron volunteered to do a count, a sign count.
Okay,
If you can do that, and then we'll just put another line item request in.
So do these signs only sit on Rockwood? They don't sit on any of the
They're
side
on
streets?
Kind of core as well.
oh, then the parking lot.
Okay, so I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Why are we only looking at Rockwood?
Oh, no, I just said,
Oh, yeah,
because that's
no.
how many are on Lockwood.
No, we're looking at all.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're looking at 100% at all.
Okay.
Randy had no idea how many numbers were. He just threw out 20.
okay.
And nobody's really counted.
No, okay,
So
I
I'm gonna
just-
go walk around. and
I
count.
will not tell you, don't ask for what you need,
Right.
and they'll tell you what you have. But
Right, exactly. Right, yeah, exactly,
Okay.
right, yeah, got
Okay,
it, we got it.
okay.
So we'll plug in a number for total size based on your.
So I'll go around and do a count,
Mhm.
I'll relay that to you, for, because you, of the meeting with the city,
Mhm.
that's like on the
I think
middle of
mid-March or something.
Yeah. So the other thing that may happen is during that conversation, it may be that you turn around and say, okay, FY 26, we'll do 20 signs. FY 27, we'll do, break it down.
Mhm.
But my suggestion is if that's what happens, situate it so it can bleed into, and we can get the majority of the signs done over the period of what regular citizens see as the year.
Mhm.
We know it's crossing over 2 fiscal years,
Mhm.
right? But just to make certain that it's continuous, because that's the one thing that I've noticed, and it's not just here, it's anywhere. You start a project and it stops. People don't see the progress. They just know you stopped. So figuring out, we map out a strategy, make it flow.
It definitely, I don't know this, but seems like to me that if you were doing these signs, you would want to do them all, it would be less expensive to do one time.
The more you buy, the less.
Well, the more you buy,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
But if it's 177 signs,
Oh, it's not gonna be a hundred.
No, that's the
Oh.
cost per.
Oh,
thing you
okay,
put on.
'cause I-
No,
that's what I was-
It could
okay, I
be
was
25, it could be 30.
It'll be 20 to 30.
okay, so understood.
7 or 10 grand.
Yes.
Okay, I feel that. Okay, that's, okay, then let's ask for it all then.
Ask for the full amount.
Yeah, I kept seeing that 177 and it just threw me, I apologize.
Yeah.
All right, we'll add a line item for that.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions as it relates to the budget? Hearing none, we'll move on. Renee, any additional comments regarding the memo of understanding?
So this was the first commission that we proposed this to. We're going to do it about 3. Again, we're asking for you to acknowledge what we do. That's basically it, that's all. It also is an opportunity for you to see what we're providing and it's, it is itemized. So I just ask that, you all allow Dave Smith as the chair to sign off on it. No one's selling the first one or anything like that. But again, so we all know this is what's happening and this will be a good, tool for us to also reflect on next year.
So this was presented in a bit of depth last month.
It was in the, it was all drilled down by like department, what was going on with it, right?
My take on it
What they
is
did.
it's reasonable, it's nice to lay that all out. I don't think it really changes anything, it just lays out understanding what's been done. It's expected to continue to happen. Any curiosities or questions in that? I'm certainly inclined to accept it as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the, detailed scope of work for the 25, as was presented to us in the last meeting. Seconds?
Any second?
Yeah. I'll second that.
Other comments, questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right.
Just a quick question, was this part of the minutes from last?
Yeah, it's in there.
What's that?
This is already in the record.
It is, yeah. Which we all read. Thank you. And getting ready to approve the minutes. We already got a quick update on the city, on commission vacancies. We still have 2 vacancies on here. Continue to reach out. Lean on TJ here.
Meetings are not like this.
Really long.
No.
Generally not so.
This is the worst meeting.
Yes.
Well, no, it's just the longest, the most spread out and the most debate and.
And we started 15 minutes early.
Right, exactly, right. But yeah, so it's.
It's budget.
so I don't
Budgets
know why
are
Dana
fun.
might do
Yeah.
this.
No, it's so good.
Some sick twisted.
I think my first meeting on commission was at a budget meeting too.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
That's
same.
how you learn it.
Right. New business? Okay. Tim, you want to give a BDC update?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I've not been good with this new, timing of the meeting, the first Tuesday after the first Thursday of the month. I can't get that through my head to show up.
Mhm.
So I need to work on getting to the meeting. So, do you have anything you'd
I
like
give a
to?
little bit of an update. So, right now, as you guys probably realize, today was actually, no, next Tuesday.
But you,
But no,
Crossroads is tomorrow.
it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Crossroads is tomorrow. It was rescheduled to tomorrow. Tomorrow was supposed to be the BDC coffee event. They were unable to get a space for hosting their coffee event. So we're waiting for it to be announced, space and new date. The other thing that's going to be happening at the BDC's coffee event, there is going to be a legislative session. And we're going to bring in someone just to talk about what's coming down the pipe, how that is going to impact businesses here in Webster. Hopefully just giving you all an idea of how you need to position yourselves, and especially as a city entity, things that BDC wants to do, how how to do it in a most effective manner with respect to legislation. One of the biggest conversation is some of the legislation that's going to impact taxes. One of the things that's been off and on for several years is taking sales tax off of food. We would lose a lot of money. So things of that nature, again, giving y'all an overview, as well as us, of what the legislators are talking about down in Jeff City, so that we can understand how it will impact the business districts.
So let's just say if you remove sales tax on food, and of course it costs Webster a lot of money, but won't it also cost the state a ton of money? Like they take part of that sales tax,
Yeah, they
right?
take,
They
but
take 3% of the total, no, they take 5.
the state,
Yeah, they take the bulk of the sales tax.
but you have, and I'll tell you some of the advocates that are really pushing for this, AARP, seniors from that perspective. So it's been, I know that this was discussed in 22. So I was active down at the Capitol and set in on those. So it's just, it's come up,
There's a lot of
gone
money
down,
behind
it's
it.
coming back up, yeah, so, and a few other things. So again, just so you all know,
Mhm.
so we all know.
Mhm.
So that's my BDG update.
What was the feedback of the happy hour?
It went very well. There were, it was bad weather. We had a full house. We had a full house. It went very, very well. Yeah, and I'm just seeing you. I don't have
Is
anything.
there an upcoming event for BDC? We should have
When
a
they
radar
figure out
set
the
that.
date. So once the date is, we'll
Is
send
the,
that out, and we'll announce it.
is the legislators talking, open to us to go, or is it just a?
Well, if it's at the BDC coffee event, everybody,
Is it-
it's open,
okay.
yes, absolutely. And just like these meetings are open to the
CID
public, the meeting is open to the public. So,
Yeah, I've been to
yeah,
a meeting with anybody.
come on down. Who I've been speaking with is, and he's brand new. I don't know if some of you all know my background. I worked for Greater St. Louis before I came here. And so I reached out to them, and the government affairs guy, brand new, been there. I spoke to him Friday. He was 5 days old, but very accomplished, former city councilor, former, I think he said city councilor for the city of Washington, former county administrator, and just, we had a very good conversation. So he's one of the guys that I reached out to. I've also tried to reach out to someone at the Missouri Municipal League, and the person that I know, I can't find him. So, we'll be inviting either someone from the Municipal League or someone from Greater St. Louis.
Would you be interested in someone from the state legislature? Because a buddy of mine, former ED director at Florissant's on the state rep now.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't know if you'd be interested,
Well, we
but
can talk about that.
And Joe
Okay.
Dahl is our state representative, who Laura and I are good friends with, so I'm sure she would she would write on Jefferson.
So I think it would be cool for them, just to, if you have like the overview and then actually have a representative here, ask them, what are your thoughts?
I know what her thoughts are. That's not the whole.
Well, and I'm sure she has a professional thoughts, the way she'll present it versus you sitting down and having a drink one-on-one. But
Right.
regardless, it would be helpful because it just would, and this is just my take, and please don't beat me up, but it will give everybody a better view of what's happening and again, because representative is who votes,
Yeah, right, yeah, she's from Webster.
Very good, thank you. Our next meeting scheduled for 25th of March. We'll do it at 8 a.m. again.
8.
So let me ask a question. So
We have,
is
do you
this
guys want
official?
We don't need to, we need to vote on the
the
budget.
budget?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're gonna, we need to fill in some info about parking signs.
Well, I want to do a little recap. real
Yeah,
quick
please,
of what
please,
we're
go
doing
for it.
here. So let's just, I just am interested in talking about the expenses. So starting on, I think that's page 5.
I'm sorry, I have a meeting at 9:30.
You're good.
So,
Pleasure meeting you.
because we'll not be at the next.
8:30.
I mean, at 2:30.
You can't go anywhere. So starting on page 4, 7-Eleven. So I just want to make sure you all are comfortable. Apparently we're not spending, I would suggest not reducing, leaving it at 11,400 because we really don't know what all is going to come. This 311 is, I have no idea. There are other things that will come. The next thing, operational equipment, we don't have any of that here. Contractual
This would be
services,
operational equipment, is really just
that,
the totals of prior years.
well, that's 730, and I don't,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Here, we don't have anything budgeted. The last time was FY 24. So that's what was spent, but I don't know what's happening. Nothing was budgeted for FY
That might have
25.
been plans or something in prior years.
Yeah.
I think it all just got moved into.
Back down.
Right. yeah.
Benches and stuff, I think might have been in that
Right.
back then.
803 professional services, we talked about that a little bit. So on this line item, I believe general admin support is your portion for Fran.
Right.
And then special events is also
All
Fran.
this is-
All
all
of
this is
this is Fran.
Right, exactly.
So I might suggest,
Should that be increased?
yeah. Maybe 5%.
So looking back in prior years, 24 was 7,300, 2023 was 6,700.
This year is going to, I think, exceed, Fran does a lot of work. And there are certain months she puts in with a lot more hours. I think I want to say in October, you had 100 plus
Yeah.
hours.
October, November.
Yeah. So
Holiday season.
Has any of the other commissions put in their budget? an
this is my
additional-
first conversation.
All right.
And the same thing I'm recommending here, I will recommend for
I
everybody.
mean, I'm thinking 5% would be a good number. What's the-
6,300.
we exceeded that in prior years. So.
Well, we did
60 to 6,000 even.
So it looks like-
6,100.
somewhere between the happy spot is somewhere between the 67 and the 73.
Which is basically 7.
Yeah, just make it
So
seven.
so let's just
Make it
increase it
seven.
to 7,000. And we'll do the.
I mean, so just point out, when it was, let's just say 67 or 73, Fran still gets paid. It just comes out of our fund balance because we go over there or we're under on our streetlights for our electricity. You know, it's just, it's just.
Wiggles around.
Right, exactly.
Right, exactly. Regardless of any she's gonna get paid.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we just need to
She's
try to
gonna
make it
get
the best educated guess that we possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right.
Okay, disposal services, we kind of chatted about that a little bit. I have definitely been working with, first of all, we had to change waste management. It's now handling all the recycling. I got an excellent deal.
Is that, so our recycling dumpster
Mhm.
is?
Was Republic Service to,
Yeah, well,
to be waste
It's
management
way,
starting
yeah, so,
yesterday?
yeah. So the dumpsters, that was the problem, getting Republic to take their dumpsters and. But I think we've worked all that out.
Okay.
My point is that the amended budget for this year was 2,600. And I see what we spent in 23 and 24. I'm anticipating that we're going to be spending less than this 5843, but it might be more than 26.
So we should probably ask between 4 and 5 in the budget.
Yeah.
What line item?
I'm on 18.
810.
Page 5.
Yeah, I'm looking at
26,
looking at the last couple of
16.
years.
Oh.
We far exceeded.
How did it get so high? And
Republic's, so I'm gonna be
was
honest
it
with you.
contaminated cardboard?
No, they're high. They are high. They were charging us very,
486,000.
yeah, they were very.
I know
expensive.
that Eric was saying when, back in 2021, they just kept raising the rates.
Yeah.
And no, I used to use them, and that's exactly what I ran into. It's like, once it got to a certain point, it's like, no.
Yeah.
we're done. And then you have a contract with them, and you're screwed. You just don't sign a contract.
So the interesting thing is when we reached out to them to talk about this, they weren't really receptive. Then when we terminated,
Oh, yeah.
now they wanted to make a deal.
Absolutely.
So,
Happens every time.
you lost your shot.
Right, and I know, nothing makes me more angry when
You can't do that.
I quit my service and they're like, oh, we'll lower your rate.
No, you should have
You
done
did
that
lower it
first
because I was a
place.
customer of yours for
That's
20
right.
years.
Nothing makes me more angry than when they say, when they miss your pickup at home or wherever, oh, we'll make a complimentary pickup for you. I'm
No.
like, no, this is not complimentary.
Right.
You didn't do your job, come do your job.
I paid for this.
I paid. for
Yeah.
this.
So bump it to 4,500.
With 4,000.
4,000, yeah. Let's just see what it looks like next year, but let's try to get 4,000. Okay,
Also,
Land.
specific land rental is lower than it has been the last several years. I'm fairly certain we had some additional city sharing of that.
so this is what's interesting, Dave. It is lower. The amended budget is 10,000, but right now if I'm reading this properly,
We're already over.
yeah. But this is the rate, right? This is what we're being charged on taking.
So it used to be 80%.
Oh, that,
It was 80.
That was the different split.
Yeah, the different
okay,
split
so,
before last year. So now it should be a 50-50. Because I got my wish last year.
Mhm.
We went from 80 to 50.
Like the city pay more.
Yeah.
I wonder if that actually happened.
Yeah, I do wonder that.
I think
Sort
we're
of,
gonna
but
go.
I think it was just still being paid out of the old code number.
Why don't we leave it like this? But this will be a good number this will be a good number to actually monitor July first. I would
Right,
like to
'cause we
revisit
should-
that July
Yeah.
first to see where. we
My,
are.
my guess is
We're
it
on
didn't.
14, right?
August.
Yes.
No,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, we're on eight
Okay,
fourteen.
so, I mean, if you look at our actual amount in 2023, it was almost 20 grand. And then our 2024 amount was 14 grand. So there is a dramatic drop there.
Mhm.
So that's
From
when the
80%
city,
to
that's when,
50%.
right, exactly. That's when the city kicked in more funds.
So, and then if you look on, not at the 25 amended budget, but the 2025 actual, that's showing 13,774.
Mhm.
And that actual goes to July, is that right?
Yeah, so this is as of this date, where we ran this, so. I am suggesting leaving it as it is, but
It's
actually,
probably gonna be-
and not even July first, August meeting. Let's look at the budget.
Okay.
We also need to check with Gregory and see if it's coming out of the right coffer. Like if
Okay.
the coding was changed from 50% to 50, from 80% to 50%.
Okay.
Just to reconcile it.
Mhm. Streetlights. So we've now determined this is incorrect. It is not a request for electricity. It is the actual streetlight.
Physical units.
Yeah. Honestly, this is interesting. Maybe we should leave this alone. I need to talk to some folks because I don't know what $125 is. Because there's nothing that I signed off on
Mhm.
for replacement of a streetlight that was under $25.
Yeah, if you can get extra clarity on that, but I would say for now, we'll just leave it as is.
Yep. Advertising, no change.
Plugging 15,000 for account 851 rooftop lighting,
Yep. And
and then parking sign, I don't know what
we
bucket
need a
that'll
line
fall
item
under.
for that, yes.
Dollar amount. My
And-
guess is probably 7,500.
7,500.
Sound about right?
It seems
Okay.
right.
Good. Okay.
And that's,
And we also, we not only, so this is, are we looking to just ask for the, so Gregory gave us some great information. You have a CD, $53,000. We can draw some money from that. I would suggest being frugal, but if we can use some of that for our streetlights to start. But then in FY 26.
Rooftop light. right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Thank
sorry.
you. Rooftop,
Yeah.
our rooftop lighting. But then going forward, do you want to build in a line item for the remainder of the rooftop, or do you just want to try to take it all out?
I mean, historically, we've had $3,000 a year as a line item in the budget. It's like an ongoing deal. What I'd like to do is just 50,000. We just do that as a special request to the council, and we'll see if they will.
That way it's done. We don't have to keep talking about it for the next 2 more years.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll push out there. We'll see if they will cover the costs. Not that we can contemplate if we put a CD for this. Good.
So
Same with the signs.
I just want to make sure I get this right. Going forward, you don't want to put in an ongoing line item?
No, I would like to have an ongoing line item for rooftop.
Okay,
lighting.
Okay, so it's two
Because-
things.
Yeah, I'm sorry, two bits.
Well, it's not just maintenance. You could have other property owners that want to, that don't have anything now, that want to join.
Yeah, that would be the,
On the
to me,
maintenance
that's the
side.
one.
That's the
That's
ongoing
the
line
ongoing,
item.
yeah.
Okay.
The maintenance, actually, the bulk of the maintenance is really actually covered by the city, it's supposed to be.
The maintenance is, yeah, I think it's, and I
We're
get
talking-
confused because you all have a deal, they,
Mhm.
I think y'all's is
It's
50%?
50% by the district, 50% by the property owner.
For the initial installation.
Initial installation.
And maintenance is provided by
By
the city.
the
Yeah.
maintenance.
So I think even as we get with the show electric, and that's where Dan and even building owners will be very helpful, because some of it is maintenance versus
lot of it's maintenance.
Yeah,
It's
the
just that-
majority of it is
Yeah, and
maintenance,
it's,
so.
yeah, I think if Show Me is being if they continue to be as responsive as they have been, where Stride was, they were all gung ho for a week and then they disappear and we never hear from them or see them. And I just know everybody who had to talk with them or tried to do anything was just so frustrating. So
So, yeah. So that actually even provides a little, I don't say reduce, not at all.
Mhm.
That provides a little more cushion.
Sure. Mhm. Yeah, I like it. It'd be nice to get that,
So let me
nice to
be
get our
clear,
district lit.
Sheriff Smith, we're gonna put in a special request for 53 from the CD, but we're also going to build in what on our line item?
Well, the special request,
yeah, special request is going to be for the 15.
15,000.
Right.
And
Are we
that's
getting that from, are we
the
to ask
city.
that from the CD that you
from
have?
the city.
From the city. Okay, so that's gonna be our line item.
Correct.
Okay,
And if they don't approve it, then we will then go to
Contemplate.
contemplate
pulling
going to CD.
okay.
But we're gonna move forward regardless.
Yes.
Good, okay,
So one way or the
okay.
other, we're still moving forward. It just depends on how we can.
okay. Well, I feel a lot better because either way I can continue my work.
Yes, yes, yes,
Please.
yes. Keep doing what you're doing, and if worst case scenario, we'll just pull it out of the CD
Okay.
and we'll our fund balance. But we do need to. I would love to sit back down in August and let's regroup. And you've been, Renee, much more proactive than in the last 4 or 5 years about getting us a budget and such. And it's more up to date. We are constantly on it versus just this one time of the year. It makes us much more aware and much easier to adapt until it's a crisis mode.
Appreciate that. I don't like crisis.
No.
So Fran, back to your question though. We won't have it on here, but in subsequent years, I would recommend, since for thought, subsequent years, we'll have a more modest annual number for installs.
Which we've had before in the past.
Yeah.
Between 3 and 5K.
Yeah.
But for now, it's 15 to get things back on track.
And I think that that's a justifiable statement as far as this request, because you said a key get back on track.
Mhm.
We are not on track.
Right.
The second city asked that I'm gonna propose, we'll do that, and Ron, if you participate with me, that'd be awesome. But the second request would be for department sites. Special one-time funding to get that done.
Okay, and I just have to figure out where does it go?
So we're gonna use, at the moment, the figure of 7,500. Get a count of signs and update them accordingly.
Fantastic.
So I will make a motion to approve the budget as we've just discussed.
Oh, buddy.
Second, excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Thank you. We will move forward with that. We'll formalize it. I would say we learn everything. Get the word out.
For our next, and maybe just an update, I will get the exact date for your presentation, because I don't know it off the top of my head. We will shoot it out to you. I'll be honest, and I'm trying to find out, I've seen one from one commission, it was just
It's Tuesday nights, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was a report, so I don't believe, and Fran, you can help me with this, I don't want to misspeak. They don't have to do PowerPoint or anything like that, do they?
No, they do not.
Okay.
It's a verbal
Okay.
presentation. Commission should have our materials. in front of us.
8 or 8:15.
Next month.
8:15, right?
8:15, you guys want 8:15?
We don't have a budget and our meetings never go this long, ever.
TJ, what I like to say,
Ever.
I speak on behalf, it won't be like this.
What time would work for you?
I personally like the 8 o'clock.
I like this.
Just-
Okay,
Y'all okay?
I'm good with 8.
But it doesn't matter.
Okay,
I'm
all right,
fine.
we'll do 8 o'clock for the next meeting, March 25th.
So do y'all just want to change it to
Right,
8?
yeah.
Yes.
But-
Yeah, that would be my preference. I think
Yeah,
we-
I mean, we moved it because of Stacy, to be honest with you. That was the
Kids
reason
are
to
getting-
accommodate,
Yeah,
yeah.
And that way it's a
8
little
o'clock,
easier.
yeah.
to-
8 o'clock going forward, yes.
8 o'clock, all right. So that is the change, it's 8 o'clock going forward.
Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.